Alan will have a 5-minute rebuttal.
Okay, so as best as I understand it, I think that Professor Chadwick's position is that she affirms that the unborn is a human being, which, by the way, I want to commend you for acknowledging that and recognizing the science that bears heavily on that issue. However, this leads to a rather incredible claim, that is, her view leads to an incredible claim, and that is that there are some human beings, therefore, that we can kill because they're not valuable or because they're not persons. Now, which humans are they? Which humans can we kill because they don't sort of meet the qualifications? Well, they're the ones that don't make sort of her list of qualities that determine what constitutes a human being or not. Now, she didn't specify a lot of these certain qualities. She did say, she did mention about not being able to survive without the woman's body, so that is, in essence, an issue of being dependent upon another person. She did mention a couple of stories about diseases in which the unborn might have, which perhaps would justify having an abortion. But I want to point out something with this view. You see, there's several problems with creating a list which says there are some human beings out there that don't qualify as being valuable and protected and that we can kill with impunity simply because they don't make this list. So my question would be, why should we accept Professor Chadwick's list of these qualities? Why does being dependent upon the mother for survival somehow disqualify you as being valuable? Or having some sort of condition like trisomy 21 or other kind of disease state? Why does she or anyone else for that matter get to decide which human beings count and which human beings get to be killed? Another problem with this sort of approach of accepting that the unborn are human beings but then disqualifying a certain segment of them is that it results in discrimination and injustice. Her view basically presumes that there's a class of human beings that you can kill because they don't make her list or some other list. Now, this is a problem because the powerful then, those of us who are born and outside here, can discriminate against the weak and the vulnerable, namely the unborn. Now, what's interesting about this is that many years ago in our own country, we had a situation where women were not allowed to vote. And women were disqualified based on an arbitrary quality, namely their gender, and as a result, they were told they can't vote because of that. Now, this is obviously unjust discrimination, but this is what happens when you create a list of things that says, okay, we accept the unborn are human beings, but we will also say that it's okay to kill these unborn human beings because they don't achieve a certain set of qualities that we deem to be relevant. So, for example, when she talked about the degree of the ability of the unborn to be dependent upon the mother, remember in my opening remarks I talked about the SLED test, right? It's a size, level, development, environment, degree of dependency. Her mention of being dependent upon the mother for survival falls under the D of the SLED test, degree of dependency. And remember, I pointed out that being dependent upon somebody else for your survival does not disqualify you as being valuable. Newborns are dependent upon their mothers, as I mentioned, even conjoined twins. You can think of other examples in which, perhaps you might see a small toddler fall in a pool and be the only person available to save that little toddler from drowning. Well, does the fact that they're dependent upon you for their survival somehow disqualify them as a valuable human being? I don't think so. Now, Professor Chadwick mentioned also about having consistency as a key issue, and I would fully agree. And if the unborn are human beings just like you and I, then in order for us to be consistent, we need to protect the unborn for the same reason that we should protect all of us in this room from murder, from killing. Let's see, Professor Chadwick also mentioned about, she asked the question, are we comfortable having the state decide what women do with their own bodies or do with these difficult decisions? Well, I agree. If the unborn are not human beings, you're right. I don't think the government should be involved in deciding what women should do. I don't want government involved in my private life. I don't want government involved in women's lives at all either. However, that's only valid if you assume the unborn are not human beings. But that's precisely what I've showed, is that the unborn are human beings. They are not just human beings, but they are valuable just like you and me, and there's no significant difference between the unborn and born. And so if that's the case, then yes, we do want the government saying what people can do with their bodies, especially what entails killing another human being. We routinely allow laws of the government to restrict how you and I behave when it entails harming another person. And so if we're going to be consistent, then we should also apply the same laws and protections to the unborn, if it's the case with the unborn human beings. And I've shown scientifically that they're human beings, and I've shown philosophically that there's no morally significant difference between born and unborn human beings. Therefore, should abortion be illegal? I think the answer is still yes, it should be illegal, because abortion kills an innocent human being that's valuable, just like you and me.
Okay. Thank you very much.